First Adventure. Introduction, wherein the gentle reader learns as much of the life of Mr. Peregrine Tyss as is requisite for him to know. Presentation of Christmas boxes at the bookbinder's, Lemmerhirt, in the Kelbecker Street, and beginning of the first adventure. The Two Alinas. Once upon a time. But what author will venture to begin his tale so nowadays? Obsolete, tedious, such is the cry of the gentle, or rather ungentle reader, who wishes to be plunged at once, medias in res, according to the wise advice of the old Roman poet. He feels as if some long-winded talker of a guest, who had just entered, was spreading himself out and clearing his voice to begin an endless discourse, and he angrily closes the book which he had but just opened. The present editor, indeed, of the wonderful tale of Master Flea, thinks this beginning is a very good beginning, not to say the best for every history, on which account the most excellent story-tellers that are, namely nurses, old women, and so forth, have at all times made use of it. But, as every writer writes chiefly to be read, he, that is, the aforesaid editor, will not at any rate deprive the kind reader of the pleasure of actually being his reader. He tells him therefore at once, without more circumlocution, that this same Peregrine Tyss, of whose strange adventures this history is to treat, had never on any Christmas evening felt his heart so throb with anxious joyful expectation as precisely on that with which begins the narration of his adventures. Peregrine was in a dark chamber, next to the show-room in which he was wont to receive his Christmas box. There he crept gently up and down, listened a little at the door, and then seated himself quietly in a corner, and with shut eyes inhaled the mystic odours of the marzipan and gingerbread which streamed from the sanctuary. Then again there would shoot through him a sweet mysterious thrill when, on suddenly reopening them, he was dazzled by the vivid beams of light which fell through the crevices of the door, and danced hither and thither upon the wall. At length sounded the little silver bell, the chamber door was flung open, and in rushed Peregrine, amidst a whole fire-flood of variegated Christmas lights. Quite petrified, he remained standing at the table on which the finest gifts were arranged in the most handsome order, and only a loud "Oh!" forced itself from his breast. Never before had the Christmas tree borne such splendid fruits, for every sweetmeat that can be named, and amongst them many a golden nut, many a golden apple from the garden of the Hesperides, hung upon the boughs, which bent beneath their burthen. The provision of choicest playthings, fine leaden soldiers, hunting trains of the same, picture books, and so forth, is not to be told. But as yet he did not venture to touch any part of the wealth presented to him. He could only occupy himself in mastering his wonder, and comprehending the idea of his good fortune in all this being really his. "Oh, my dear parents! Oh, my good Alina!" so he exclaimed, with feelings of the highest transport. "Well, my little Peregrine," replied Alina, "have I done it well? Are you in truth rejoiced from your heart, my child? Won't you look nearer at these handsome things? Won't you try the new rocking-horse and the beautiful fox?" "A noble steed," said Peregrine, examining the bridled rocking-horse with tears of joy. "A noble beast, of pure Arabian race." And he immediately mounted his proud courser. But though Peregrine might else be a capital rider, yet this time he must have made some mistake, for the wild Pontifer, so was the horse called, reared, and threw him off, making him kick up his legs most piteously. Before, however, Alina, who was frightened to death, could run to his assistance, he had got up again and seized the bridle of the horse, who threw out behind and endeavoured to run away. Again he mounted, and using with strength and skill all the arts of horsemanship, he brought the wild animal so to his reason that it trembled and panted, and recognized his master in Peregrine. Upon his dismounting, Alina led the conquered horse into his stable.